So we are heading to Atlanta. We're leaving out of DCA today. We're going to Render Atlanta, which is a tech conference. They invited us out there to get some interviews. I'm pretty sure I'm in this magazine, so let's check. It's Success Magazine, because this is like it. We live in... That's cool. Thanks, Success.
Then, those of you traveling with our...
James, where are we?
Pittsburgh.
We got our rental car, and let's head over to the conference. Change of events. We are now off the side of the highway because car's just not working. Well, that didn't pan out how we expected. Car's getting towed because it doesn't work, so now we're waiting on our Uber to go back to the airport and get another one. New rental car secured. We did not get our money back, and we probably won't.
Correct.
We are here at RenderATL. What do you do for a living?
Hi, I am a front-end software engineer.
Very cool. How long have you been doing that?
I've been doing that around 5 years now. 5 years.
Amazing.
Yes.
What's your educational background? Do you have a relevant degree?
So, no, actually.
Ooh, I love
went to school originally for biology, realized that I didn't want to cut up any bodies like I thought that I wanted to.
Realization.
Yeah, and then decided, okay, I love books, so I'll just go into English instead. So I did that. Yeah, I went to a boot camp and graduated from that, and here I am 5 years later.
Amazing. So a boot camp turned you into a software engineer. People talk so much smack about boot camps. What's your opinion?
So I think that people need to figure out their own ways to like get into tech if it makes sense for them. So if a degree makes sense, I mean, look, companies, they want degrees so badly, so it's really important to make sure that if you want to do that, you should.
Okay.
If you decide that you want to go to boot camps because it's cheaper, you have like more communities that are really direct with some of the companies, go for it.
Okay.
But I don't know, I think it really depends on the learner. So it was, for me, it was a cost thing, and I had a free scholarship, so I was really excited about that.
I
And
love that.
you know, I'm able to network so much, so I'm here with you.
Yeah, we're here at RenderATL.
Yeah.
And what's your favorite part of your job? Best and worst parts?
Best parts is that I really love being able to test and collaborate with the customers to kind of see like where they go when it comes to the UI and things.
Yeah.
The worst parts, being on call, I don't like that. In the middle of the night where they're like, hey, something's broken, and I'm like, I don't want to, no.
Sleeping.
Yeah, I don't want to do that.
Yeah. How is your work-life balance?
I feel like it's actually fairly good. So I've had it where I've had, a 4-day work week in this past job that I had. And then, I was in like 9 to about 3 for another startup that I was at. But I've been working remotely for maybe 3 out of this 5 years. So it's pretty cool. Yeah.
Remote work for the win. We love that.
Yeah.
How much are you making?
I'm making $135,000 right now.
We love that. Do you feel well compensated?
I think so. I think it's fairly within the bounds. I would like to get more. Always want to get more.
Always
So
more.
we'll see.
Yeah, always want to get more.
Yeah.
What advice would you share with others who are interested in also becoming software engineers?
So I would say make sure that you're doing a lot of projects. If you can collab with people, make sure that you're learning in public. So putting out your blog posts, making sure that you're asking questions like on Twitter, on different like Discords and Slacks and things, because that's really how you're able to collaborate and figure out like what more there's out there for resources and things, because like, you know, some blogs and things, some technical documentation isn't always like reader friendly and things, and it's like I want you to get to the point, and sometimes you don't. So sometimes it's just nice to just go ask somebody. So learn in public. Learn in public is the big thing. I am on Twitter. I am on Instagram as Shidoni-chan, and I have a YouTube channel at Sydney Buckner. So Sydney with an I.
Sydney with an I.
Yep.
Love that. Connect and network.
Perfect.
What do you do for a living?
I'm a software engineer.
Software engineer. I've met so many software
Yeah,
engineers
I bet.
today. How long have you been a software engineer?
I graduated college in 22, so
Okay.
about 2 years now.
Oh man, you're fresh into it.
Yeah.
And how much do you make in your role?
Yeah, so my compensation is split up between salaries, stocks, and bonus.
Yeah.
My salary is like 165.
Nice.
My bonus this year came out to like 30.
Cool.
Yeah, and stocks are around, it depends obviously on how the company does.
Yeah.
But it's about between 80, it could be more.
Oh man, so
Yeah.
over 200K,
Yeah.
comfortable. Do you feel well compensated?
Definitely, yeah.
Amazing. And I've heard a range of salaries that are higher and lower. Why do you think you make a higher salary?
Yeah, I work at a bigger company, so the bigger companies tend to look for the best talent, and the best way to do that is just to pay more. Competitive pay. Yeah.
What's your educational background? Do you have like a software engineering degree?
Yeah, I have a bachelor's in computer science.
Amazing. So you're at a bigger company and you have the relevant degree. Totally makes sense that you're making that much money. Do you feel well compensated? Are you happy at the company?
Yeah. So I have no complaints. I've been here almost 2 years.
Yeah.
I love the people that I work with. The stuff that I do is super interesting. So yeah, no complaints.
What are the best and worst parts of your job? What do you like? What don't you like?
The best parts I'd have to say is like the people that I work with. Everybody's super knowledgeable, super helpful.
People are key.
Yeah, people are key. The worst parts, I guess like it's not really relevant to the job or like the company itself, but it's just like all the things that go into being a software engineer is like writing documentation, keeping up, fixing, old code, stuff like that.
Probably the more admin parts that are
Exactly.
annoying.
Yeah, that's not just like writing code and building stuff.
Yeah, the writing is probably the creative part that you like.
Yeah.
And what advice would you share with others who are interested in also becoming software engineers? What worked for you?
Yeah, I think the best advice is just to ask questions. I've never asked a question and had somebody not help me. So whatever you don't know, like, just ask questions.
Yeah, a lot of people are so scared to do it.
Yeah, exactly. And I was going to say the other thing is just keep writing code.
Yeah. Practice makes perfect.
Hannah, I am a software engineer.
Software engineer. How long have you been doing that?
I started studying in 2019, but I have 2 years of experience.
2 years. And
Yes.
what were you doing before that?
Prior to that, my background is in banking. So I was like a relationship banker in a bank. Yes.
How was that transition for you?
It was tough. A lot of hard work, alone at the library, studying to get, the skills up to date, but it paid off.
It paid off, literally and figuratively,
Yes.
which leads me to my next question. How much do you make?
I came in at base salary was 80. Bonus was 8% of that, so I think it was like 8,600.
Yeah.
So total comp was 86. I left. Base salary got up to 85.5, and bonus was like still 8%. So let's just say somewhere in there.
Nice. Do you feel well compensated?
I felt well compensated, especially coming in without a bunch of experience, but it makes me frustrated to hear of other, engineers that have masters and stuff, and they're only making a hair more than me, but I got a lot of experience from my time in banking doing salary negotiations, so I'm very aggressive when it comes to it. Like I'll ask.
Any tips and tricks on salary negotiation that you would share?
Set your whatever you want, ask for more, because they're usually going to counter, what I'm saying? So if I want 100, I'm not going to ask for 100, I'm going to ask for 125. So when they counter, that's what I really wanted.
Yeah, and you'll still be over the 100. I love it. What are the best and worst parts of your job? What do you like? What don't you like?
I love the challenge. I'm one that likes challenges, and that's not common in today's society. Most people want the easy road, but I love a challenge, and it definitely is. So that's one of the, I wouldn't say the easiest part, one of the most enjoyable parts. One of the more difficult is how much you have to be alone and how much you have to know. We do work as a group and as a team, but a lot of it, you're responsible for your task and such. So sometimes coming from a team background, the work that we have to do in isolation is difficult, but you get used to that as well.
I love that. I love that you transitioned into software engineering as well, which a lot of our followers are trying to do.
Yes.
What advice would you share with them? What made you change?
I wanted more money, which is usually, but I enjoy coding as well. I mean, I enjoy a challenge. I enjoy, I'm computer savvy. I'm computer savvy. So I was like, hey, I need to go into tech, and I want to make some money. But my advice would be not to give up, because it gets very lonely. You're at the library by yourself. There's not really a lot of people patting you on the back. Now, if you have a lovely wife, like my buddy has here, supporting you, that helps. So I want to say advice, surround yourself, join a local AJUG group. If there are any kind of, tech groups, join those, ask questions, just get around those who have that experience so you can start to pull from them.
What do you do for a living?
I am a customer success engineer.
Awesome. How long have you been doing that?
Oh, about a year and a half.
Cool. What were you doing before? What's your career path?
Oh, wow. Buckle up. So before that, I was a professional services consultant, and prior to that, I was a cloud architect. Prior to that, I did SharePoint for a whole lot. Prior to that, I was a nuclear engineer and then a high school geometry teacher.
How did you go from high school to nuclear engineer to technology?
Oh, wow. So I wanted to be a career student because they were paying me. I got a, I got a full scholarship to Norfolk State University for science and technology. And so for 4 years, I got a degree in applied math. And before that, after that, I got a full ride to do optical engineering. So I got a master's in that. Then I got a master's in computer science. And now I'm working on my doctorate in organizational diversity.
Which job was your favorite?
Teacher.
Teacher.
Yeah.
Why'd you leave?
The pay. Yeah, I was doing a whole lot, which I love doing, but I was only making like $45,000, and that was me with a master's degree, with 2 master's degrees, and it just wasn't enough, and so I was like, let me do something else.
Yeah, and how much do you make in your role now?
I make between $150 and $200.
I love that. What's the variable, like what comes into play there to give you 200 or to give you 150?
Just the range of experience that you have. So all of the things that I've just said, all the experience that I have, so I'm able to work with a lot of different other customers. So just your level of experience. So even though I had a crazy journey, it just is helpful because it helps you get more money.
Yeah. Any advice on salary negotiation for others listening?
Yes, I think that you should always negotiate. Talk to your friends, ask how much they're making, go online, listen to Salary Transparency Street, because you just never know. They're always willing to go up, so just don't settle for the first number.
Yeah, and no is not the last answer you'll get.
Yes,
right?
it's not the last, exactly.
What do you do for a living?
So I'm a senior software QA engineer.
QA engineer,
Yes.
Okay. How long have you been doing that?
This will be now 4 years.
4 years.
Yeah.
What's your educational background? How'd you get into it?
I actually have 2 music degrees. So originally started in sales for Apple, and they ended up moving down here once I lost some family. And then next thing you know, everyone was like, go over to this company, and I went with that company. And I climbed my way up. I've been with them now 7 years.
Wow.
And it's been great.
I love that. So they've supported you in the transition in your career, teaching you the skills, all of that?
Yes, yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
How do people find companies like this?
It's hard to do. That part is very difficult to do.
Yeah.
But you just be patient, take your time. Even if you're working with another company in a position you don't like, still keep pursuing what you're trying to go for.
Yeah. Don't lose hope.
Be persistent. You got to be persistent. Yeah.
And how much are you making in your role?
Right now, my base is somewhere around 120, somewhere around there.
Okay,
Yeah,
and you probably got stocks and bonuses in there too.
Yeah,
Do you
yeah,
feel well
definitely.
compensated?
I would say yes. Yeah, for Atlanta, yeah.
What career advice would you share with others who are also interested in becoming QA engineers?
Yeah. I would say it's not something that you necessarily need a degree for. So definitely spend time maybe researching things like Automation University. We're going to hear like Angie Jones, she's going to speak. So she's like a great person to learn from. And she has courses there that are free to take. Udemy courses, YouTube, things like that. But also just really take time to spend learning about the different types of testing, because people hear testing, they're like, oh, I just test the thing.
Yeah.
No, there are like a bunch of different types of testing that you end up doing that you have to be mindful of. So, yeah.
Are there some that make more money than others? Is that a thing?
Yes, there are. When you start working closer to less out of the analyst work and less out of the manual work, you start moving towards a lot of the automation work, writing a lot of the code, building a repository. When you start working with that, that's when that starts to go up. And to be honest with you, everyone needs testing. Yeah. Everything from accessibility issues to understanding, hey, this thing I put out is broken. You save the company a lot of money doing that. Yeah.
What do you do for a living?
So I'm a software engineer. I do front-end development. I work with a government consulting firm.
Okay.
I work with what's it called? I work with a government contract, I work with one of the government agencies.
So common.
Yeah.
We were government contractors as well.
Oh, really? Yeah.
How long have you been in your role?
I've been in my current role for 3 years.
3 years.
3 years and change, yeah.
Nice. And what's your educational background?
I have a bachelor's in public health, community health. So we did a lot of like outreach in the community, and I'm able to take that with me because I do like I'm doing more accessibility work, so I understand policy and all that stuff.
Yeah.
So it's been very interesting kind of meshing the two worlds together.
Yeah, I love that you can apply that in your role as a software engineer.
And the best part is like, wait, you did public health? I'm like, yeah, we made it work though. Yeah.
And you're the perfect fit for it, I would say, because you've got that background that a software engineer traditionally wouldn't have, right?
Yeah, exactly, yeah.
I love it. How much are you making in your role?
I'm making about 129-ish.
That? Do you feel well compensated?
I'm good.
Gotcha.
But, you could always kind of learn more negotiating, learn more about, like, asking for what I'm worth. So I'm learning that. I'm going to take that forward with me, and we'll see from there.
I love that. Next year it'll be a lot more.
I hope so. Here's hoping, yeah.
Here's hoping. What are the best and worst parts of your job?
The best parts, I get to learn a lot from other people. I work with very, very smart people. So they teach me things, and they keep me on my toes especially. The worst part... it's kind of like asking for help at the right time, because sometimes I get really stuck on something and I'm like, I should know this, and I get in my head. And that's been something that I usually get as feedback, like ask for help as soon as you can and stop getting stuck.
Yeah.
So it's very much a confidence thing, and like being assertive and confident in what you know, definitely.
Great point. Yeah, I struggle with the same thing.
Yeah, totally.
Any advice that you would share with others who are interested in doing what you do?
Network quite a bit. That's how I got in the field with like a bunch of organizations, the Black Code Collective, what used to be Women Who Code, but
Yeah.
just generally out meeting people, practice a little bit. I write a lot about my experiences, or I write on and off, and just tell the people, get to know people, because you never know where your next opportunity is going to be.
What do you do for a living?
I am a full-time content creator in the programming space.
And a programming. So you also are a programmer?
Yes, so I've traditionally been a software engineer and a developer advocate. Advocate does a lot of speaking and content and presentations and workshops and that sort of stuff.
Awesome. How long have you been doing content creation and programming?
Yeah, so both of those for about 10 years, and I've been doing full-time working for myself for the past 2 years.
Amazing. How's it going?
It is awesome. There's challenges with running your own business, taxes, and making sure you have runway and all that sort of stuff, but I love having the flexibility to do all the stuff that I enjoy and love every day.
I love that. How does your salary as a creator now compare to when you were working full-time as a programmer?
Yeah, so this is actually a really cool story for me. So I was let go from a company almost exactly 2 years ago.
Oh.
And at that point, I was making $220,000. And last year, or the first full year doing content after that, I made almost exactly the same, a little bit more, so like 230.
I love that.
Yeah, that was pretty cool.
Yeah, definitely. We always want to make the same amount, if not more, right?
Well, that's my wife was really nervous about me doing it full time, and I told her, like, I don't want to do this and not have money. Like, I still want to make good money. So to be able to do both of those things, do what I love and make good money, has been pretty huge.
I love that. How do you monetize as a content creator?
I do a lot of partnerships with brands on YouTube videos. So one of my projects is called Deals for Devs. It's where we're just aggregating lists of deals for developers on courses, ebooks, that sort of stuff.
Cool.
And so I have a couple partner brands that I'm using to build that with, and then share my journey as I'm building that on YouTube and Twitter and that sort of stuff.
I love that. So you're sharing all the tips and tricks to help people become programmers.
Yeah.
What's the biggest piece of advice you would share?
It's funny, this is a question I ask other people as well, is community. That's been my biggest thing since I have really started kind of self-teaching in 2016, and being active in Discord, showing up at conferences. I'm giving a talk tomorrow on how to have more success in tech interviews, and connections is a big part of that.
Yeah.
And I don't think people should do it selfishly. I actually hate the word networking. I think networking for me is just showing up and being where the people are that are doing the things that you want to do or learn about. So coming to events like this, engaging in local meetups or smaller meetups, online communities, whatever you can do to find your community, whatever that looks like for you.
I love that. How important is pay transparency in the tech industry space?
Yeah, it's huge. I've always been really transparent, and I think that's always been a stigma and a really awkward conversation for people. But I'm transparent because I know, as people are looking for roles, if they don't know what to expect, if they don't know their value, they're gonna get undersold or under-offered, whatever the phrase is. And so without the idea of what are other people in similar cities or remote or similar positions, without that idea of what they're making, it's hard to understand what you're worth. And I want everybody to make more money.
Yeah, so do I. What do you do for a living?
I am a developer advocate and content creator.
Very cool. So a developer advocate, what does that mean? I've never heard of it before.
So it's like a software engineer who helps other companies and people develop and implement their software. And then I also get that feedback and I take it back to my company like, hey, maybe they don't like this thing or they do like this thing.
Yeah, so this is what we should be doing next.
Yeah, so I come to conferences like this a ton and just talk to people like developers and people like you.
Very cool. How long have you been doing that?
I've been a software engineer for 3 years before I hopped over and became a developer advocate.
Cool.
So 2 years as a developer advocate.
And as a content creator?
4 years.
4 years, nice. And I bet you do content about your industry as
Yes,
well.
of course. I started with that and now moving more to lifestyle because, yeah.
How much do you make in your role?
About 2 or 3 to 4 totally. Yeah.
Ooh, okay. Which role makes more?
It depends what, because I do a lot of time at my day job, so I would say my day job right now, but in a few years, definitely my content creation will probably beat it.
Amazing. And how are you monetizing your content creation?
Brand deals, a lot, sponsors, AdSense, affiliate marketing, course creation.
Yeah,
Great.
same.
Yeah.
That's just how it goes. What are the best and worst parts of your job? What do you like? What don't you like?
So the best part of this job is I get to talk to developers around the world. So last year I was in Korea, 2 weeks ago I was in Spain, I took a vacation to Italy after, so
Nice.
it's definitely a lot of travel, meeting people from all around the world.
Yeah, definitely good benefits, it sounds like.
Absolutely, yeah, great benefits of the company.
How's your work-life balance?
Amazing, it couldn't get better. I was in the Air Force before, where there's no work-life balance, and now in this position, it's like the best thing possible.
Well, thank you for your service.
I appreciate it.
What's your educational background? So how did you go from the Air Force to tech?
Yeah, so I was in the Air Force for not a coding job at all. I hated it. I was deployed and I was like, I gotta change my job. So I started teaching myself while I was deployed, and then I documented that entire journey and got a job in an apprenticeship as a software engineer, kept developing my skills, and I realized I like talking about the development journey a lot more than actually creating code, so that's why I'm a developer advocate.
Love that. You found your fit.
Absolutely.
What advice would you share with others who are interested in doing what you do?
Others interested in being a developer advocate, I would say it's free to start being a developer advocate. Like, you need to be a developer advocate before you're an official one.
Okay.
So start telling people about what you're learning, what you're working on, what you're having troubles with, and that's basically the essence of an advocate.
Okay, I love that. Anything that has worked for you in your career that you would share? Salary negotiation tips, anything like that?
So when I first started to get a job offer, I interviewed with 4 or 5 companies at one time.
Wow.
Very stressful, but it helped me negotiate my offer more than 10 to 15%, which is a great blessing.
Yeah, you get to like play them against each other.
Yeah, super stressful week. I do not miss that week, but it was worth it in the long run.
More pay, we love it.
So I work in DEI, so I lead a lot of DEI programs for a company I work for.
Very cool. How long have you been doing that?
Yeah, it's been about 4.5 years, going on 5.
Very cool. Do you like it? What are the best and worst parts of your job?
Yeah, I love what I do. I'm here at Render, so that's always a plus, right?
Yeah.
But the best part, I think, is just like getting to make a difference and impact, making sure that we're hiring people who are historically excluded demographics and giving them opportunities in the tech space is really important because there's not a lot of people like us in that space. So creating those opportunities is definitely something that I love about my position, yeah.
Yeah, you're closing gaps everywhere. I love it. What's your educational background? How'd you end up in your role?
Oh man, that's a very unique question because I actually have a degree in theater arts.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
I know, yeah, it's interesting. But I started in theater. I left that role because I was like, oh, I'm an underpaid artist and I don't have food to live. So then I moved into the corporate space and started recruiting.
Yeah.
From there, I was very involved with employee resource groups. After that, I took an opportunity to do a DEI program management role, and I've been in that role ever since.
Amazing. I love it. I love that journey. A lot of people are unhappy with how much they're making with their degrees post-grad, and then they're like, I need to make a switch.
Yeah, absolutely.
What was the best piece of advice that worked for you to make that switch?
Yeah, someone told me once to just be open, like open to opportunities that arise and like really leaning in on your strengths and just making sure that you're staying upskilled in opportunities, and networking with people is really important.
For sure.
Yeah.
How much are you making in your role?
Yeah, total comp is over 210.
Love that.
Yeah.
DEI, I love it. I'm hearing software engineers making less, so I'm proud of you. How does that comp come out that way? Is it broken out by stocks, base pay, things like that?
Yeah, so it's base pay with compensation with stocks. So
Nice.
Yeah.
Do you feel well compensated?
you know, you can always get paid a little bit more. So I'm definitely going to continue to advocate for more pay for myself, being a Black biracial woman in the space of technology. I think I deserve a little bit more money.
Facts. Yeah. Any advice for others who are interested in working in DEI? Anything you would share?
Yeah, it's really hard right now. I don't know if everybody's been paying attention to like the attack on DEI with layoffs. It's really, really tough. But just stay resilient. I know that's also a wishy-washy word we don't really love, but it's really important to just build your networks and make connections with people, and then just try your best to find those opportunities. They are out there. It's just, you know, some of the companies are scaling back a little bit, so
Yeah,
it's
but
unfortunate.
what goes down comes back up, right?
It does, absolutely, yeah.
What do you do for a living?
So I work with an organization in the education space.
Okay.
I'm also an ed tech consultant,
Ed tech.
and I'm also in the finance and credit space as well.
You're a busy man. How's your work-life balance?
It's interesting because not only do I work all those roles, I also have a 3-year-old daughter, so it's hard to kind of balance that whole
Oh man.
personal work-life balance kind of situation. But I'm working on it.
I love that. And what's your educational background? How'd you get here?
Yeah, so I got a bachelor's in information systems with a minor in mathematics. I am a mathematician, and then I got a master's in education and curriculum instruction mathematics. So I have both the tech side and I have the education side.
Bring them together, you've got the perfect fit.
Perfect marriage.
How much are you making in your roles if you can break them out?
All right, so the first one I would say about 100K.
Okay, nice.
The ed tech consulting about $375 an hour for engagements that I do to train educators. And then on the third one, I would say about $200 an hour for consulting there.
So you're raking it in.
Not too bad. You know, I do okay
Making
for myself.
easily, I'd say 150, maybe 200K a year.
Yeah, absolutely.
Love that. Do
Yeah.
you feel well compensated?
I do, but I think that it could be a little bit more, right? It always could be a little bit more. But as far as the expertise, I think it's definitely on level.
Love that. Any advice that you would share with anyone interested in becoming an ed tech or consultant?
Yeah. So what I know, right?
Sorry.
One I would say, education is a space where you need to know your content like really well, right? Know what you're doing and actually have a passion to do it, right?
Yeah.
You can be, the old adage is like, oh yeah, when you enter education, you don't get paid as much, but
Right.
actually,
That's not the case.
you can get paid nicely in education if you're in the right field of education and have the right content knowledge. I've always been a STEM educator and mathematician and did math when I was teaching.
Yeah.
So if you're in math, I'm good.
You're set.
I make a nice chunk of change with that. You know what I mean? So I would say know your content, be self-aware, know your worth, right? And be able to articulate how much you are worth so you can get paid how much you are worth.
Yeah.
You know what I
Any
mean?
advice on salary negotiation that's worked for you?
Yeah, absolutely. Being able to go research kind of the range of what you're getting paid for, what you're looking for in that job. But I think one big thing is when you're asked questions about how much you want to get paid, the way to kind of swivel around that is to always say, I want to get paid what, I want to start off at industry standard or whatever is commensurate salary for this, and then you negotiate your way up from there and say, here are my skill sets, here's how I speak to the increase, and here are the things that I can do for your company. And those are the things that make salary negotiations a lot easier for people to get what they want.